Hey everybody, it's Dr. Foster. Hi. I am going to talk to you today about colds and flus and how to stop them fast, naturally. Last year, over 80,000 people died from the flu during the 2017-2018 flu season. So I want to tell you what to do based on my experience, 20 years seeing patients. I'm a conventionally trained doctor. Here's my diploma. University of Texas in San Antonio, graduated in 1996, and I've been using holistic remedies ever since. I don't know if I can see anybody's comments right now, but I'm going to go ahead and start talking to you about what you can do to stop the suffering fast. Now, the key to stopping colds and flu in 24 hours is to do it in the first 24 hours. So if you start getting the first signs and symptoms of cold and flu, you need to treat right now. Don't delay. If you wait, if you're out of town, or if you go it's not convenient and you wait till 24 hours has gone by, you're not going to stop it fast. Although you can still reduce the intensity of it, you can still heal up a sore throat, and you can still breathe clearly, and you can reduce symptoms naturally, of course. Now, a lot of people think that the flu vaccine is the answer, and there was a story in the news just last week about a man who had a flu shot and he ended up in the hospital with Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome is where your body is paralyzed. So he was paralyzed from the neck down. He was unable to move or even speak. He was in intensive care in the hospital because of a simple flu shot. There's also something called autoimmune syndrome induced by adjuvants. That means that the things they're adding to your vaccines, which are the adjuvants, are causing allergies, asthma, and autoimmune disorders. So if you decide not to get the flu vaccine, what do you do instead? That's what I teach people, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Sure, why not? Okay, my phone's talking to me. Okay, so 80,000 people died last year. I think we can do a lot better with these statistics in getting people to do things for themselves at home. So these are simple, natural remedies that people can use in the privacy and comfort of their own homes to avoid going to the emergency room, to avoid going into the hospital when they get a cold or the flu. Now, how do you know if you have a simple cold or flu? So a lot of the symptoms are similar. So usually it's fever for the flu. It's usually the distinguishing factor between a flu and the cold is the fever and the body aches. So fever, myalgia, those are the body aches. Headache, malaise, which is a sense of being sick, of something being wrong. A non-productive cough, so a dry, hacking cough. Rhinitis, which is a runny nose. So, and generally speaking, the symptoms of a cold are pretty similar, but a flu is more serious and usually involves the whole body, which is why you get those body aches all over. Now, sometimes the first sign of a flu is that an old injury just seems to be aggravated, like that trick knee or the old finger injury or something, and you will feel it more intensely right before you come down with the flu. It could be a headache. It could just be like a slight tickle in your throat. It could just be slight stuffiness in your nose. So the key here is to treat as soon as you get a symptom. I started getting the flu last night because I was treating a little girl. She's 5 years old, and she got the flu, and she had a fever of 104. So, and in her case, what we used were antiviral essential oils, and then I went in on the soles of her feet and started doing deep foot reflexology. So, some of you may know that there are points on the bottoms of your feet that correspond to every organ in your body, and you can reach your entire body through the bottoms of your feet. So when you put essential oils there on the soles of your feet, you're sending those essential oils through the meridian system and to every organ in the body. In fact, sometimes you put an oil on the bottoms of the feet, and within seconds you can literally sometimes taste or smell that essential oil in your mouth. It's pretty amazing. So last night I started getting it. Well, let me finish the story. So with this little girl, I did about an hour and a half of deep foot reflexology. She had woken up that morning and she didn't want to eat. She was hardly responsive. She could barely open her eyes. She was screaming. She was obviously in a lot of pain. Her head hurt, her hip hurt, which told me that it was the flu, because usually the body aches are the flu. So within, I think, about an hour and a half of doing the deep foot reflexology and the antiviral essential oils, she was alert. She was no longer screaming. She was asking for food. Her appetite had come back. There was a major shift. So what are the main antiviral essential oils that you use, and how do you use them? I like AV Blend. AV Blend used to be called antiviral essential oil. These are essential oils that are specific for this time of the year. And you can apply them to the bottoms of your feet. Also, if you have congestion, a great place to apply this is the back of the neck or just below the jawline. You can even go in this indentation behind the ear. I know this little girl's ears were hurting a little bit, so we put a little bit behind her ears. And you use those every couple of hours. Now, one year I was flying on an airplane and I didn't know what to do. I started to get a cold or the flu, and I had an essential oil kit with me. But I didn't have Germ Shield, which is what I use today. So I started sneezing like every 10 minutes. It was just ongoing, on and on and on. Sneezing, sneezing, sneezing. Nose just running like crazy. Feeling terrible, starting to get the body aches, going, oh, this is terrible. And I ran into the bathroom and I started shoving essential oils up my nose. Peppermint, just to get it like decongested and to be able to breathe and open up those breathing passages. Eucalyptus was to decongest and drain the mucus out. Tea tree oil was to kill the bacteria or the virus that was causing it. And so I did this every hour on the hour. And by the time we landed, this was a European flight, so by the time we landed, I was okay. So it only took 24 hours to nip that one in the bud. Okay, so Germ Shield is a little bottle just like this, and you can use a tissue and dip your pinky in the oil and just use a tissue and line the inside of your nose. Now you can also put it here on the upper lip, and that way you'll be inhaling it. And when you do this, you're actually bringing those therapeutic properties in the nasal passages and down into your lungs. So it's not only affecting just your nose, but also your lungs. I know a lot of people get sick in their lungs. They get bronchitis and things. Just an aside here, why would you not want to take antibiotics for a cold and flu? Well, the answer is very simple. Antibiotics kill bacteria. Colds and flus are caused by viruses. So antibiotics do not kill viruses. They never kill viruses. So when you take an antibiotic for a cold or the flu, you are doing zero. You are doing nothing for the virus. Now, some people take antibiotics because the doctors give them. Sometimes the doctors want to give you an antibiotic because it makes them feel like they're doing their job. Sometimes they give you antibiotics because you insist and they don't want to create problems, so they give you antibiotics to make you happy. And the third reason why they give you the antibiotics are to prevent complications that come after the flu. So your antibiotics do nothing for the flu or the cold, but they can prevent the bronchitis and things. If it's a bacterial bronchitis, can prevent those. Now, could you prevent those with natural remedies? Absolutely. I'm a big fan of avoiding antibiotics if at all possible. I never take them ever. I haven't had them in years because the essential oils and the herbal extracts are that effective. So that's why I wanted to make this video, to let you know that there are things that you can do in the first 24 hours to nip it in the bud. And if you do get it, even if it goes down into your lungs, there are things also that you can use. So one of the things I did last night when I felt the tickle or that soreness in my throat was to use a food grade hydrogen peroxide. So this is a very pure food grade hydrogen peroxide with essential oils in it, and I gargled with it for a few minutes and then spit it out, and my throat was getting to the point where I could hardly swallow. So I did this. I have a new prototype extract, cold and flu, which I'm going to come out with this year, and I took 2 droppers last night and it helped enormously. I was able to get to sleep and I slept all night long. I didn't want to do the traditional recommendations where you treat every hour on the hour, because it was nighttime and I was about to sleep and I really just wanted to sleep. So I woke up this morning knowing, okay, I'm going to treat every hour on the hour, and that's the key. You need really strong remedies and you need to take them every hour on the hour. So cold and flu, I didn't even need to do that this morning. I mean, sometimes you can take 2 droppers every 2 hours. So a dropper is something like this. So it looks like it's almost full, but it's not. So you just squeeze it, and this is a highly concentrated alcohol extract. And the reason why I use those extracts is because they're about 10 times stronger than what's normally out there in the stores, in the grocery stores, in the drug stores. What they're using is something called U.S. Pharmacopoeia standards, or National Formulary standards. And that's about 1 part herb per 10 parts alcohol. So that's mainly alcohol and not that much herbs. So these are about 1 to 1. So a lot of herbs and an equal amount of alcohol, and that makes a really, really strong extract. The other thing that's important is that those extracts need to soak for at least 2 weeks and even up to 2 months. So this takes time. A lot of companies are not willing to do it. I'm willing to do it. The extracts turn out way stronger. We get way better results with the extracts this way when they've been aged or steeped for that long. And what you end up with is you end up with something that's really like opaque, like you can't see through it, and that's because it's super, super saturated with the therapeutic components that you need in order to get well fast. So let's talk about some other ways of stopping a cold or flu fast. One of my favorites is Echinacea. So this is Echinacea Premium. This is a super strong, super saturated extract. What you want to do is you want to take 1 dropper every hour on the hour for about 24 hours. And if you do this, most likely during that 24 hours, you're not going to feel the symptoms like I do. Like I started getting the flu last night. I started treating right away. You treat every hour on the hour, and it feels like you don't have the flu. So if you'll notice, I'm not coughing, I'm not sniffling, I'm not blowing my nose. I put Germ Shield up my nose. I took cold and flu formula, which was an experiment this year, because normally I take Germ Blaster. But Echinacea is safe for most people to take. Some people are concerned that if they have an autoimmune disorder that they can't take it, but I've used it with people with lupus and all kinds of problems. It's fine. The golden seal in here is a natural antibiotic. It's going to help you feel better fast. It's good for mucous membranes. Let's see, what else do we have? So the Germ Blaster, this is a classic. This is a no-brainer. It works every time. You take about a dropper every hour on the hour. It will kill those germs fast. Now this is garlic. This is garlic, cayenne, horseradish, ginger, and horseradish root. The horseradish root drains your sinuses. It's a specific for your sinuses. So some people get really stuffed up here. They get their sinuses blocked. And this is a specific for that. The garlic is a raw garlic, and it's steeped in apple cider vinegar, and that apple cider vinegar helps to kind of change your body chemistry so that your body chemistry can be more alkaline as opposed to acidic, which is where diseases thrive. So the hot chili peppers. This is really important because when people get a cold or the flu, it's usually because their body has become too cold. So they went out in the cold for too long, they got a chill, they maybe were on a boat or in the snow, and they weren't dressed properly and they got chilled to the bone. This also happens to people as they get older. Their body temperature gets a little cooler, their hormones slow down a little bit, and they go around, with less effective metabolism, so that they are not as warm. You may notice some people with cold hands and cold feet. So that's a symptom of this process that's going on. So what you need when you've gotten too cold is to warm up. So a lot of people, and especially when they have a fever, will feel cold. So the hot chili peppers, the garlic, those are both thermogenic herbs. So they help you warm your body up. In fact, in the first 24 hours of getting a cold or the flu, if you will warm your body up with diaphoretic herbs or thermogenic herbs, they heat your body up and you cause a sweat. Sometimes sweating will get the virus out of your system and you can knock it out that way. So this is a good diaphoretic formula. Diaphoretic means sweating. So this causes a sweat. It warms you up and causes you to sweat that stuff out. Now, for kids, sometimes kids don't like the taste of herbs. So there is a children's Echinacea formula called Immune Boost Syrup. This one is Echinacea angustifolia, Echinacea purpurea. These are the two main varieties of Echinacea. This is an herb that helps to strengthen your immune response. Eleuthero root, which is Siberian ginseng. This is good to have because it speeds recovery, according to the research. Cinnamon bark is got some great antibacterial and antiviral qualities. Cat's claw is a nice anti-inflammatory. Esneolichin is an antibacterial. Sometimes it's called old man's beard because it kind of grows like a beard off of certain types of trees, and it's very antibacterial. It helps kill infection. Okay, 1 year, one of my friends told me the Immune Valour formula helped him when he got a cold or the flu. It's usually not what I recommend for the cold and flu, but it did work for him. This is therapeutic mushrooms. So reishi, shiitake, maitake, these mushrooms stimulate your immune system. There are also adaptogenic herbs in this one. Adaptogens are herbs that help you adapt to stress. So stress meaning you got sick, or it's too cold outside, or you're at a high altitude. So these herbs can help you when you're under a lot of stress. Maitake, schisandra, cordyceps mushroom, or organic rhodiola root, which is good for fatigue. And a lot of people get really dragged out, tired, fatigued when they get colds or flu or when they get sick. So this is good for that. Now I like this formula because you could use it kind of to avoid problems during cold and flu season. So if the people around you are sick, then you can use something like this every day, like 1 or 2 doses a day, so that you keep your immune system optimized and you never come down with a cold or flu. What else can you do? You can use Echinacea that way as well. So classically, the way you use Echinacea during cold and flu season, if you're not sick and the people around you are, is you take 2 droppers 3 times a day for 1 week out of each month. So once a month, you're going to be taking this for a week. And that revs up your immune system, makes your immune system nice and strong so that you can resist those viruses and never get sick. If you don't like the taste of herbs, there is an herb called Stevia, and it makes your herbs nice and sweet. So you can mix your herbs. You can use a little shot glass or a little mug, add some water to it, put some Stevia drops in there, and this one's hazelnut, which is my favorite. And then you won't taste the bitterness of the herbs. The bitterer, the betterer, generally speaking, in the herbal world. Those bitter herbs help to stimulate your liver and your entire system. Okay, now let's say that you have gotten sick and you didn't take your herbs and it went down in your lungs and you are coughing a lung out. You are just miserable, you're sore throat, and you can't speak very well and you're hoarse. And I know one year I was coughing so bad with the flu that I couldn't lie down flat. Like every time I tried to lay down, boom, it started. I was just coughing, coughing, coughing. And I had what's now called Herbal Throat Soothe. And this is a wild cherry bark cough syrup. And wild cherry bark is actually an expectorant. So it will help you get this stuff out. You'll start coughing this stuff out instead of the dry hacking stuff where you don't get it out. If you're coughing mucus out, then you generally want to, you don't want to take a cough suppressant. So you don't want to go to the store and take a codeine cough syrup when you're coughing stuff out. If you do that, you'll suppress your cough, but you'll leave the germs in your lungs and it can turn into pneumonia. So don't take codeine cough syrup when you're coughing stuff out. Take something herbal that will help you get this stuff out of your system instead of simply stopping the cough. So herbs are multifunctional. They actually do more than one thing. So the throat soothe, I think it's like a honey base. The wild cherry bark is, like I said, a natural expectorant that will help you get this stuff out. It oftentimes quiets a cough. Elderberry, which is a great diaphoretic, so it helps you sweat and get that stuff out of your system. Slippery elm and marshmallow root, these are mucilaginous herbs that help like soothe the mucous membrane. So when you swallow it, it soothes all the way down. In fact, with this one, I love this one because it's got eucalyptus, lemon, and tea tree oil along with menthol crystals, and these are essential oils. It's kind of like a mentholated action, but this is all natural. It's all organic. It's like swallowing like a mentholated cough drop, only it tastes really good. I think this is like this is vegetable glycerin and pure honey that goes in this. There are some other things. Fennel seed is a classic for cough. It's kind of like a antispasmodic for your lungs. Echinacea angustifolia, so that helps strengthen your immune system. Clove bud actually has some antibacterial qualities to it. The fennel seed is high in fenchone, and this is kind of like the same active ingredient as found in star anise, and star anise is used as a base for Tamiflu. I didn't just say that. Mullein leaf, again, is a leaf that is very soothing to your lungs. It helps you when you have a cough. The leaves look like smooth and velvety, which is a clue as to what they do. So they're soothers. They soothe the lungs. Horehound is a classic herb for cough. Ginger root is a good thermogenic herb, helps heat your body up and drive that cold out. Lobelia, which is an amazing herb for the lungs. It's like a bronchodilator. It opens them right up. So if you've got a cough and your bronchioles have kind of constricted down and you're wheezing, this is a great formula for something like that. Okay, so that is a good formula to use if you have a cough. That one completely saved me. I thought I was going to have to go to the emergency room that year, and I ended up treating it at home. Like I said, I haven't been to a doctor in many, many years. Okay, body aches. Let's say you're miserable with body aches. A lot of times that cold and flu formula is going to take care of it, or the Germ Blaster is just going to take care of a wide multitude of symptoms. So you don't necessarily need all of the things that I'm talking about today. You may only need one or two things. But there is a muscle massage oil that's called Muscle Energizer. I like this one. It's got anti-inflammatory essential oils in there. They help with muscle aches and discomforts and things like that. These are all therapeutic grade, organic, well-crafted essential oils. They're all gas chromatograph tested, so they definitely have the therapeutic qualities in them. I've been up to one of the farms where they produce and grow those herbs and distill them. They're very careful with distilling them at low temperatures and low pressure, and that's why I like those essential oils. Okay, lobelia. So if you wanted to take the straight lobelia, this would help you open up your lungs. Now, how much lobelia do you take? I generally like to start off with about 15 drops, so you can count those out. And again, you can kind of see how dark this is. This is a really good extract. And the way you know you've gotten a good lobelia extract is that it kind of causes a temporary scratchy sensation at the back of your throat. So don't worry, you haven't hurt yourself if you take the lobelia and you feel that for a few minutes after. That's actually what we call an herbal signature. So it's supposed to be there, and that's how you know you got a good lobelia. Now, if you take lobelia in a capsule and you don't open it up and you don't test it, a lot of times I've had people come to me taking their herbs in to see, like, what do I think of their herbs. I open up the capsules and I try to taste for the herbal signature, and there's nothing there. It doesn't taste anything like lobelia. One woman brought me her Echinacea pills. I bit down on it and it tasted nothing like Echinacea. It did not have the characteristic Echinacea herbal signature of numbing and tingling on the tongue, which you should feel when you take a really good quality Echinacea extract. So lobelia, 15 to 30 drops. So 30 drops is about a dropper full. So that's about a dropper full. That's about how much you want to take. How often would you take that? But depending on your symptoms. So if you have a deep cough and and you're wheezing and you want to open up your lungs, try it and see how it goes. Some people are more sensitive, so some people don't need much, other people need a lot. So you'll feel it working in about 5 to 15 minutes. This works fast. One of the reasons why I have the extracts in alcohol is because alcohol is one of the few substances known to be absorbed directly from your stomach lining. That means you don't have to wait for the food to get all the way past the stomach into the small intestine in order for it to be absorbed. And that's why these remedies can work so fast. Generally speaking, you take an alcohol extract or an essential oil, you'll feel it within minutes. And that's why I like to use them. Oh, another thing that's really important when you have a cold or flu is you need to get your nutrition in. So some people wonder, should I feed a cold? Should I starve a fever? Or which one is which? Generally speaking, it's best to go with as many fluids as you can. If you can do a juice fast, a lot of times a cold that hasn't responded to anything else, you do a juice fast all day long. Nothing but liquids, nothing but fresh, raw pressed juices, and you'll be done with it in 24 hours. Essential nutrients is a powder formula I like to give people when they're sick. It gives you strength, it gives you energy. It's algae, it's spirulina, chlorella, alfalfa grass, barley grass, wheatgrass. These are greens that supercharge your blood and help oxygenate your body. Most everybody needs that extra energy when they're sick. I haven't taken mine yet, but I plan to. One last thing is it sometimes feels good on your sore throat if you drink a hot tea. So I always like Detox Chai Spice. This is one that activates your body. It's like a diuretic. It's diaphoretic herbs. It's carminative herbs. They help you digest. They help you pee. They help you sweat. They help you get this stuff out of your system, right? Which is what you want to do. Your immune system is trying to do it anyway, but the herbs are going to help your body optimize that whole function so you do it faster. Faster, stronger, better, longer. Okay, let's say you've got the intestinal flu and you're not sneezing, but you've got massive runs and you're in the toilet and it's watery diarrhea and you've got the body aches and you've got a fever. This is usually how you know it's the intestinal flu. Is again, you have the fever, you have the body aches. In those cases, if you take several doses of colon detox caps or the colon sooth formula, you can knock that stuff out pretty quickly. About every few hours, if you take a dose of that, then usually in 24 hours, it's gonna be gone. Okay, so I think I've covered pretty much everything. If you are on public transit, put a little Germ Shield in your nose or just underneath. This will help protect your nasal membranes from catching those viruses that people are spreading when they sneeze. Everybody should be sneezing in their elbow. Of course, wash your hands a lot. Every time you see a sick person, go wash your hands. Every time you're around a sick person, go wash your hands. And another good general rule of thumb is don't touch your face. Okay, so what happens is you shake somebody's hand or you hug somebody, you get the virus on your hands, you touch your face, and that's the end of it. Don't scratch your nose, don't scratch your eye, don't touch your mouth, don't touch anything on your face, and wash your hands a lot. It goes a long way towards preventing a lot of these things from penetrating and getting into your system. Okay, that's it. I didn't see any comments. Says I am not so good at Facebook Lives lately, so if you guys want to write me some helpful hints on how to do that, go ahead. If you have any questions, please feel free to write your comments below, and I will get to each and every one of you to answer your questions about cold and flu. Thank you so much for joining me today, so that I could teach you what to do to nip your cold or flu in the bud in the first 24 hours. I'm for sure that these things are going to help you a lot and make your cold and flu season so much happier. Everybody, Happy New Year. Have a great 2019, and let's push those flu stats down, 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 so that not so many people are dying every year from the flu. Thanks everybody for joining me. Until the next time.